had already sent in an advance force of Egyptians and Sudanese. And this advance force had already established itself in Potiko and in parts of Bunyoro. And their commander now was Salimu Bey. Okay. Now, this force which had come in was continuing to impose easing of the Mahadist rebellion erupted, and it cut off the supplies from Egypt. So these forces which were already in Uganda could not get any more reinforcement or any more support. Now, when Lugard dropped in, he was whispered that there are some of these forces which are lying low in Western Uganda, in Northern Uganda. So he ran very fast in Western Uganda and he recruited those forces. Those forces being mainly the Sudanese fighters, okay? They later on became the non-Nubians, who were eventually integrated in the Imperial East African Army, and that Imperial East African Army eventually graduated into King's African Rifles. But Lugard knew, and the British knew, that the people whom they are incorporating to fight these religious wars on Uganda's soil are not Ugandans.
But Dr.
People from Uganda.
If you say that perhaps we link the Ugandan matters to Uganda's independence, we are talking about more than 77 years.
Yes.
Because looking at when the time the matters were killed, that is back in 1885.
Yes.
Could this be attributed to the independence?
Yes, the point is very clear. When you
77 years later?
Yes, when you ask Musazi or when you ask Obote what inspired them, they would say the fight their ancestors put up, and this is the fight. Remember, Mwanga and Kabalega were arrested in Irango, and who was giving them cover? The one who was giving them cover, making them regroup, making them reorg, is Blaimu Akachi. Blaimu Akachi is the grandfather of Dr. Apollo Milton Obote. And Dr. Apollo Milton Obote, in all his rules, whether spoken or written, he was saying, when I die, I want to be buried next to the grave of my great-grandfather, Blaimu Akachi. So those Blaimu Akachi, the Mwangas, the Kabalega, constitute the primary resistance, which inspired the second 1940s, late 1950s, and 60s. Take it back to Zimbabwe. All the Zimbabwean, anywhere you take it, it is those primary resistances which gave us the energy, which gave us the fuel. And we are always cautious not to betray. And we are always saying...
So to you, the Ghana Matters Pact, this what against the colonialists?
Yes, it was a part of that.
They opened the eyes of the people of Uganda.
It was a part of that, because to settle all that confusion, Uganda was now ready to sign the 1900 agreement, okay? And the 1900 agreement, it was not bread and butter.
But also one would argue that this was a bit different war, since these Uganda matters were so much into religion compared to other countries in Kenya, which Majimaji and Mau Mau were so much of politics and political and were fighting directly to be liberated from the colonialists. And when we bring in perhaps the matters would so much go into the religion perspective aspect.
You cannot take away religion. Religion actually was one of the ingredients of this type of wars. One, we had the modern religion, okay? Two, we had the traditional religion. And through the traditional religion blew a whistle that you people, all is gone unless we wake up, okay? Unless we wake up, all is gone. Then the traditional religion inspired people. Like the rebellion in Tanzania is known as Majimaji. Do you know what it means? That once you sprinkle yourself water, okay, you can go vicious on the Muzungu, and his bullet will not kill you. So you are going to see a mix of so many things. The traditional beliefs are coming in to help in the resistance. The enlightened people who have acquired missionary education are the ones now pioneering the modern nationalism. These Nkurumas, these Lumumbas, these Obotes were all missionary trained boys and girls. So it is a mix-up of so many things, okay? And all these rebellions you are seeing, which led now to the eventual independence, that independence struggle is like a relay which you run and you hand over the baton to another person. So those who did the primary resistance, where your matters in Namugongo are involved, they played their part and handed over. Those who participated in Majimaji rebellion in Tanzania, they did their part and they handed over to the Mwalimus, whether in spirit or in action. Those who did the Shona and the Bere rebellion in Chimulenga, they did their part. And when we are celebrating the independence, we remember them because they inspired us. And it is this late group which now was taken to the Second World War and the First World War, and saw the global world and its dynamics. And they saw how the imperial power like Britain was making them to fight in India and in Burma. And as they are fighting in India and Burma, they are also seeing the Indians fighting for their independence. So they asked themselves, us as Uganda World War victorians, what is our future? What are we taking back home? So they are coming back home and inspiring others that it is possible. And I need to mention that at the end of the Second World War, there was the 50th Pan-African Congress in Manchester in 1945, where now a number of Pan-Africanists, a number of Africans sat and set the timetable, set the agenda, that now it is the time to squeeze the white man and we get our freedom. And indeed, the Indians picked the lessons much faster, and in 1947, India gets the independence. And then later on, Ghana gets the independence in 1957, March to be precise, and Nkrumah sets the agenda, and it tells the Ghanaians, tells the rest of the Africa, that the Ghanaian independence does not stop to Ghana and does not carry any meaning if Africa is not liberated. Permit me to say one or two things.
Please, as
in
I get...
1957, when they got the independence, they invited the rest of Africans who had got liberated, about 12 or 13 states, and they made those struggling Africans advice coming from Black Africa, coming from Osajefo, the Redeemer, Kwame Nkrumah. It lit the fire again. It lit the fire again. It galvanized. It made us move faster. I'm sorry I've mentioned a lot of things because even in your preamble, you also touched a lot of buttons.
Yes. Interesting. Interesting. I'll bring you, Doctor, in again. Would love me to welcome Doreen Keita Kagabi, former DRCC, Kampala Central, Lubaga Division, and so many others. I don't know where you are now, but it is exciting to have you again in this edition.
Thank you.
Interesting. I'll get back to you, Doreen, and welcome again to this edition. Doctor, okay. As I end with you, Doctor, on this, you come from a political background, but also you are still a politician, if put it that clear, and you head a political ideology school at the UPC. Basing on what we are going through, how would you assess the current political climate in Uganda, and what role does the opposition play in it? As I get Doreen.
You have given me a very big question to answer. Provided we are still independent, the independence we have helps us to point our weaknesses, helps us to point our stronger points, helps us to have hope in the future. What did Obote want Uganda to be? What did Bendikito want Uganda to be? What did we inherit as Obote, as Mutesa, as what? What did we pass over? Were we given a chance to pass over all the guns chased us from power? Obote, if you visit and you talk to him from his grave, he says he did not deliver enough because the guns chased him on 25th April, January 1971. And the same guns again chased him on 27th July 1985. So he did not have ample time. Instead of only building 24 hospitals, he would even have built 100. Only tamaking Kampala Guru Road, he would even have tamaked the entire country because it was interrupted. But then it would be so much quick to understand, you who has stayed in power close to 48 years, what have you brought on the table? These are important questions. These are important issues we have to discuss as Ugandans. Then you have talked about democracy and freedom. Independence, uhuru, means democracy, means prosperity, means freedom, means enjoyment, means advancing, and if it is possible to reach the sky. But are you having the democracy? Are you advancing? Are you progressing? Where are you weak? Why are you, have you carried that legacy of independence forward? If they ask you, where is Uganda Development Corporation? What are you going to say? And the British established Uganda Development Corporation as the mother body to lead us to industrialization. The British set up Owen Falls Dam as a dam which will assist industrialization. What have you achieved? Yes, Uganda is an agricultural country, referred to even as a Pearl of Africa. Are your citizens having meals every now and then? Yes, you have alluded to opposition. Opposition voices in Uganda have continued to come out, and they are continuing to come out. And I'm here. I'm also trying to talk.
All right.
I'm also to try to contribute to nation building.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yes.
Welcome again, Doreen. And it is very important to have you on the show, and especially when we talk about independence, we cannot forget the role that women played. But most importantly, I would love to draw back and see how you have been elevated and empowered as the women in this country. When we talk about Independence Day, what comes into your mind?
Thank you, Amon, and good morning, Uganda. I'm happy to be here. Again, I'm Keita Doreen Kagavi. I'm happy to be here to discuss such a great topic on the country I love so much, and I believe we all do. It's a journey we've really journeyed together. We are now 62 years old. I want to say happy birthday, Uganda.
Interesting.
Happy birthday, every Ugandan and African. We celebrate because that was the time when Africa was reawakened. Every African continent, country, African man and woman stood up and wanted to be independent. So as the same spirit, I'm so proud to be part of that. I am, like what the professor was saying, I was not there then, but I'm here now. So that shows the transition and empowerment. It was never possible some years back. I want to congratulate the leaders. I heard the professor only talking about two or three leaders. But I think we should, in one or the other, we should thank all the leaders who have walked us through since 1962. It has been a combination of so many leaders, even those who are not mentioned, those who are not those who are no longer with us, those who fought and did not make it through, those who shed their blood for this very day and this what we've so far achieved. So as on this day, I want to congratulate His Excellency the President of Uganda, the people of Uganda, me especially. That is my generation. And I love history. History has taught us tremendously so much. And when I look at our history, how the president has labored so much to explain to us and teach us, we notice that it was Uganda that rose up. The people of Uganda stood up and said, no, we want democracy.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough. We want freedom. We want to speak and be heard. And we want to be considered, no matter where, who or where or what you're doing. So and these were all denied. There was a time when I was seeing a clip where the president, our current president, by then, when he was, they were asking him, interviewing him. They were requesting if he can talk to by then was President Obote, the late His Excellency. And he said, why not? Why not talking? If it costs nothing to talk, and yet the harvest is big. If it can cost us nothing to talk, then we can even
gain so much.
Then we can, even if it is a devil, we are willing to talk, and discuss our issues. And I think this is what was denied. And then it forced Uganda. First, it was Uganda. How do I know that? Many people, many Ugandans rose, of course, with the leadership of now the president of our country. They had, you notice when you read his books and those people who are with him then, he used to go all over the place meeting